I'm Tracy. I'm the candy lady. I'm in my candy store right now, actually. I just got a ice cream freezer delivery and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna keep it real casual. It's not gonna be a fancy Zoom. There's gonna be no pitch at the end, so you don't have to worry about that part. You know how you always like waiting for it, like this has been really good, but I'm waiting for it till they slam you with it. So there's no pitch. Just at the end, Karen will show you what are some options for you moving forward and to fix or get yourself out. And some of it will be AI and some of it will be just part-time help or fractional help. Is that accurate, Karen?
Yeah. Absolutely no pitch. I mean, this call has come about because Tracy and I we've known each other for years, and my business in the UK and in America, I've built a group, a team, a roster of fractional consultants, and more recently, we've now started to introduce agentic AI, so agents that do one job really, really well. And the power when they're teamed with a fractional consultant who can come in, look at your business end to end, figure out what you need, maybe bring in a couple of experts, human experts, but then absolutely put it on steroids to make your business work without you having to be in the room every single day. That's just nuts. Okay. It's gone completely
Yes.
mental in the UK. And Tracy and I were talking about it. And she said, my guys, we just need to share this with some of the people in my community.
Mhm.
And we started a few weeks ago, didn't we, Tracy, to actually start a podcast on,
Mhm.
what's this first. So
Yep.
um, those of you who know Tracy, and I love her to bits, I've known her for a few years now, but she is an integrator all over the place. She just wants her
No.
fingers in every pie. And I kept
I
saying,
can do it. It's just
Karen,
not my happy place.
I kept saying to her, you just got to fix just one thing, unlock one thing, and then move on. Don't do 80% of everything. Just do one thing really well. So now I'm throwing fractional consultants at her business and I'm
Mhm.
throwing agents at her business
Mhm.
because we are going to make sure that she does that one thing really well and we get her some time back as well.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
okay.
so
Well, hi everybody. I know most of you, but I don't know all of you. So thank you so much for coming. We're gonna share the recording for whoever couldn't. Um, but I think, this is my partner, Karen. We are partners on this business called Exitable. And uh again, I'm going to do some lingo that you may not follow, Karen, but in our world, we all have an Everest, and my Everest um, is to help business owners, a million of them in the next 5 years, to develop and implement exit plans. And exit plans doesn't necessarily mean selling; it means getting themselves out of the business so that they have choices and that the businesses themselves are sellable and transferable without them. Right. So like I met with someone, I did my first 2 day this week, and basically the owner has an amazing business, tons and tons of profit, but she is like the linchpin. And so when she sells, which she will, I mean, she had 700K in profit last year, so it's amazing. But she is the person that makes everything happen, much like I was when I learned about this. And so she is going to spend the next 6 months teaching somebody. She's going to make 2 or 3 million in profit for the sale. But what she's going to do, oh, look, Tracy Gunn's on here. I don't know how that's possible, but okay, cool. Anyway, apparently I'm on here. So but anyway, long story short, she's going to spend 6 months training somebody to be her, right? And so basically what's going to happen is that she is going to be, oh, you know what? I shared the link and maybe it's my link and that's why it's a Tracy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm confused. So anyway, so what if she had her business already settled before she sold? She probably could have sold it for 4 or 5 million, but it would be professionalized. Does that make sense, everybody? So anyway, that's kind of like what Pace pitched us all, right? Was this idea of being owners and not just operators, right? Getting ourselves out. And that's what Karen's really amazing at doing. She's been doing consulting, I won't say how long, because she's a
well,
beautiful young lady. But
I'm
the
going to
reality, But she's been doing this for big, big, big companies on our websites like Bank of Scotland, but like also like brands you would know. We'll just say that. Like she's done some consulting for Virgin, like big companies where she's teaching them the same things that is teaching our clients because even big guys have problems. They don't know why they're doing half the things they're doing. They have a lot of redundancy. They don't have follow up. They don't follow their KPIs, all that stuff, right? So anyway, and AI is making this just from when Karen and I started a few years ago, AI is making it that much easier. It used to be the owner would have to fix things, and now they don't. So, anywho, is that good enough, Karen? How'd I
Yeah,
do?
absolutely, absolutely. And
Okay,
we've,
cool.
we've got a few more people. There's a few more Tracys that have joined us, so I don't really
I
know.
think because I shared my link, they're all coming in as me. If you all want to change your name since there's 800 Tracy's, because I am special.
Right.
So anyway, I
So
just shared the link so people could get on without
yeah,
having to go register and stuff. So anyhow, but this is my partner, Karen. I love her to death. She's in the UK. This is after hours for her, but I kind of begged her to come on and show us what our options are. So it just could at least expand our minds what's possible. Because with AI now, we don't even know what's possible because it changes so quickly. Yeah.
okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Karen, you go ahead. I'll be quiet. I'll try anyway.
We'll try and be quiet. Yeah.
I'll try.
So I am going to share a few slides if that's okay with you. One, because it helps me just focus. I've been talking since 6 a.m. UK time this morning. So we've got a huge following out in New Zealand. They are desperate for fractional consultants out there. They are desperate to become fractional consultants as well. So my day starts really, really early so that I can get the APAC market. And this is my last call of the day, but my throat may give in. And my head may get fuzzy. So I'm just going to, if it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to share some slides that I've been working on for another presentation today, and I've sort of cannibalized the first few. So
Hey, Karen, do you want to make me co-host or something so I can let people in if you need, so you don't have to
yeah,
get
yeah.
distracted? I don't know how to do it, but we can try.
Right, just hold on one second. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
So
the other thing, everybody, is Karen and I started a podcast. So if you'd like to be on it, which we'll give you an invitation at the end, like we're working with business owners. So Chris Cheff has been on it. Brenda has been on it. April has been on it. Marlon has been on. I'm trying to remember. There we have a couple. Anyway, but the long story short is like they come with a problem and surprised, but a lot of the solutions are all the same because business is the same. So that's kind of how we decided to do this. But if you'd like to be on the podcast, which I would love for you to be, you come, you tell us about you and your business, tell us your biggest problem, and Karen is the magician and tells you what to do. Okay, Karen, I'm ready.
oh, right, okay, excellent. Can you all see my screen? Yeah. And Tracy, can you let people in? Yeah.
I can. I think so.
Okay,
We'll
well, I've
find
made you
out.
co-host. Okay, let's crack on. As I say, it is now 6:15 in the UK. So, yeah, as Tracy said, we are now running a podcast to fix this first. Okay, so it's really what challenging founders like you to do is do one thing so that you start to get out of the weeds. Okay, because you've probably built, like we both have, we've probably built businesses, but you're still the business is still very dependent on you. You're working on the inside, you're not working above it, you're not working on the outside. And it's probably held together by a number of spreadsheets, by processes that are just in your head. And you're doing absolutely everything yourself. You're doing the marketing, you're chasing for clients, I was raising invoices over the weekend for one of my businesses, and at some stage it's got to stop. It's not a phase that we want to stay in. You have to figure out how to move out of that. And that was the beginning of our business that we called Exitable. Okay, so where do you want to be? When do you want to be there? And what's the plan to get you there? What do you have to fix first in order to start that process? So that conversation with Tracy and I about 4 years ago has created a whole host of activity in the background on both sides of the pond. I've gone away and I've worked on the tech and on the people and on the processes. And Tracy's gone away and has been front of house. So she's worked on the audience, she's worked on getting the message out there. And now, it's like the perfect storm. Everything's happening at the same time. Everything we've built in the business is now set up to help people. And it's really helping a lot of people in our network anyway, and not only the consultants, but also the business owners. I'm just really excited to start to share it with people, because I don't think the power of fractional consulting plus agents is really understood by everybody. So I know that you all know Tracy, but none of you know me. Okay, so just briefly, and I know Tracy didn't want to share how long I've been doing this, but I've been doing it for quite a long time. I started my life as an accountant. Okay, so everything I do is grounded in numbers. It's grounded in ROI. I want to make sure that when you invest time or money, you get something back. And then Greenlight Partners is my business in the UK that I set up so that I could channel everything that Tracy and I needed to do. I could channel through a company that would obviously, build the processes, build the system, and build the people. We've now got a community of about 8,000 fractional consultants. I've got a marketplace. So think of like Upwork, better than freelancer.com or any of the others five. These are where these excellent fractional consultants come together, and you can work with them directly. We've got an academy where I actually train people on how to do this properly so that they add real value. And now, very excited, we've got fractional agents. This is our AI workforce. So one of the things I wanted just to share with you is that if everything in your business depends on you, all you've done is created a job for yourself, okay? And you've probably come to that realization yourself, but it doesn't have to be that way. Everything that you do in the business that's not your secret sauce, that's not you going out having conversations with clients, face to face, where you really want to spend your time, really want to make that difference, it can all be done by AI. And that can all be set up by a fractional consultant or a number of them who come in and understand the different components of your business. So you get to do what was probably your passion when you first started the business out. You get to meet with your clients. You get to see the impact. You get to see their faces when they realize how you can serve them and what you can give them. And that's certainly where I get my joy from when I go out and whether it's a corporate client or whether it's an end user, a person that I'm changing their life. I don't want to be invoicing on the weekend, even though I am an accountant and I like numbers. I don't want to spend my time doing that. I want to sit in front of people. I want to have a coffee, have a beer, and really understand how we can help their business. So that's, just calling it out. We've probably all just made jobs for ourselves. Chaos to clarity comes from, as I say, fractional experts and AI agents. It's not only the way to build and run a business, it's your route to exit, okay? So if you want a business that's not totally dependent on you, and some of you may do, okay? There may be some egos in the room where actually you can only do this yourself. What you can actually think about is, you don't need to do everything yourself. You don't need to be the bottleneck. Okay, you don't need to think you've got to hand this off to your children, and maybe my children actually don't want to work in my business at the moment. Hello?
Thinkers. The same. They're the same for me.
Yeah. So I built it thinking, this would be great to hand over to them. And actually, they're off living their own lives at the moment. So maybe in a few years' time, they'll want to come back in. But at the moment, they don't. So how am I going to do it? Because I can't do it all myself. How am I going to do it? I've had to build agents, and I've had to bring some fractional consultants in to help me. And I always said at the very beginning of my entrepreneurial career, which was a long, long time ago, I never wanted to hire staff. Okay. I never wanted the problem of hiring. I never wanted the problem of performance management. I never wanted the problem of covering for holidays and sickness. And the cost of hiring staff, certainly in the UK at this moment, is astronomical. Okay. So I honestly 100% believe that hiring full time is the slowest way to grow. There are 3 people in my business. Okay. One of them is my son. Okay. So he's our marketing lead, and he's the guy who goes out and just makes sure that all of our messages and everything are landing properly. He likes to do that because that was his degree. But actually, he's also now a fractional consultant doing that for other people. So I'm on a waiting list to get access to my own son to help me with our business that's growing, because he's being paid far more by other people than I was prepared to pay him. The only other person in here in the business is an ops coordinator. So somebody who, for our community members and our academy members, he's actually the face of it, the face of the of any calls that they need to arrange. He's the person that they go to. I honestly believe that we don't hire people. I hire problems. That's always been. I've hired a couple of people over the years, and there's always been an issue. Okay, you give them a stop. They're great for a few weeks, and then slowly but surely the processes get eroded. Agents do everything you tell them when you tell them to do it, perfectly the same way every time they execute the task. There's no deviation from the process. There's no holidays. There's no sickness. They just do what you tell them to do 24/7. So we are actually, and everybody that's in my network are now getting more done without doing more. Okay. I've got agents that post on all social media for me that consistently my tone of voice. I've got agents that do outreach calls for us. I've got agents that manage all of our back office processes. They now do the invoicing. That was the one thing I did at the weekend. So as I say, you don't need lots and lots of activity. You need one step. You need to do that one thing. That's why Tracy and I have set up Fix This First. You need to do one thing only. And then you get help from a fractional human or 2 or 3, depending on what you need to do to be done in your business. But absolutely at such a reduced cost compared to what it would take to have a full-time human doing one role, and then an AI agent. Once you've got one thing done, you then just replicate that. You go and get the next fractional human that you need, and you build out the AI agent that you need. So I've got some case studies. I've got 3 that when Tracy and I were talking, I thought these are the 3 people that immediately spring to mind. So if it's okay with you, I wouldn't mind just sharing some of the background to this. Is that okay? Give you some examples. So Scott is a good friend of mine. Okay. Only recently good friend. Prior to that, he was a business owner, but I've actually just now got a couple of Airbnb properties with him. So his business ran him initially. Okay. So the cleaners wouldn't turn up. The removal companies weren't there. The guests were not looking after the content of the Airbnb. He was on call for the lockbox that was there at the end of the day and overnight. And when clients turned up and they couldn't get themselves in, he was always the escalation route. So he needed help, but he just did not know where to go. So what we did is we threw a general manager in there. Okay. So a fractional general manager went in, sat down with Scott for 2 to 3 days and literally mapped out everything that he does in his business. And then we started to identify where all of those pinch points were. Where was Scott spending most of his time? So we did a bit of a calendar audit. We understood what the tech stack was that he was using and how it was disjointed. It wasn't talking to each other. And then what we did is we, once all of that was mapped out, we saw the hotspots that were in his business. And so we started to build him agents. We built him agents that would respond to guests immediately, that would remind the guests when they were driving up to the property where to find the key. Okay, no one can pick up an email, no one can remember what the code number is, all that type of stuff. So we knew what the questions were. We trained the agent to send the guests a text message or a WhatsApp message with all of the information that had already been shared a number of times, but was actually that was the pinch point that Scott caused him problems because it was creeping into family time. So that was the first agent that we built for him. We then built him another one to escalate the issues. Okay. So, and then ultimately, when all of these things were fixed, we started to work with Scott on, well, what would it look like if you had your iPad in front of you and you could see how the business was performing? What are the KPIs that actually drive your business? So the occupancy rate was a big one. What's the turnaround? What's the average cost, pounds per evening that you're getting, and how are you going to grow that? What were your sales looking like? And then underneath, we did some feedback and then some escalations, and they were verbatim. That was text, so the others were numbers. And Scott could actually click on this and drill into it and see where the hotspots were. And then after that, we even built him some exception management tools where it's a case of, okay, so does 31% turnaround time look good? What should it look like? Is 67% occupancy rate great? What does that look like? He's got a portfolio of over 100 units. and he needs to be able to really see and predict which ones are going to cause him problems in the future. So now the whole dashboard setup that we've got, again, established by a fractional consultant, but all of the data comes in using bots. Okay, so that was Scott. Fern, she was initially a project manager, full-time in a permanent role. And then she started to dabble in CBD products, okay, so oils and lotions. She got to the stage where lots of salons in the UK were coming to her. She was shipping them in from the States. Salons were coming into her, but she didn't really understand how to get a consistent pipeline. It was more through word of mouth. Her marketing was a bit hit and miss. 1 week it was a Facebook campaign, the next it was, she thought she could collaborate with an influencer, lots and lots of activity, lots and lots of money spent, but she really didn't know where she was getting her leads from, and it was a bit of feast and famine. So I've got a really great CMO that I work with. He's in one of the biggest organizations he's in the Marketing Hall of Fame in New York, and he loves businesses like this. So he spent a Sunday morning with me. He was in New York, I was in the UK. We were looking at her business. We were looking at what the strategy needs to be. So he did a couple of hours Sunday morning as we were just literally riffing, looking through what could work, what could we translate from a big corporate into something that would help Fern's business. We then understood what needed to happen. So she needed a social media strategist and she needed a content manager. So we went out to the fractional roster. We went out and found the people that we knew would fit with Fern, fit with her kind of product set and the people that she was talking to, her customers. We matched those clients up, those consultants up with Fern. And it went down into the next level of detail. And then, right at the very end, because I do love a good dashboard, maybe it's the accountant in me. Right at the very end, we said to Fern, you could really do with a dashboard for this. Wouldn't you like to? She's a great traveler. Wouldn't you like to just know when you're in Bali or when you're in Switzerland, exactly what your pipeline looked like? She's running an e-commerce business now, whereas in the past she was shipping everything herself. She's got a fulfillment team now, and all of that was run based on one really great marketing guru that we know. He's the human, he's the brains. He then went out and got 2 fractional leads for the areas, the pinch points that are in her business. And then we laid AI over it and we wrapped it all up in a nice little bow for her with a dashboard. Okay, does this make sense? I know I'm talking fast and apologies.
Nope. I mean, the dashboard basically is collecting data from all of the agents okay, let's go back a minute. So basically okay, let's just even say my candy store. I'm expanding whatever. So I hire a fractional COO to come in, evaluate the processes, to fix what's going on now. Then we decide, okay, what can we automate and not have to pay somebody to do because they're inconsistent. Then we build those bots. Those bots report now to a dashboard that we built to tell me where we are, inventory levels, who showed up, who didn't show up, who's overtime, all of that stuff. Oh, I don't think I see the waiting list.
Sorry, so I'm letting them while you're talking.
Okay, thank you. But it started with the COO, the fractional, because I mean, in my candy store, I can't hire somebody full-time to be a COO, but I can hire somebody fractionally for a couple hours a week to help me to get to where I need to be, to help me to figure out the pieces that are broken. Because I mean, I'm pretty smart, but I also don't have the time to focus on it. I'm in it. I'm not outside of it, so I'm not thinking about it. So I think, does that make sense for everybody? Just give me a wave if that makes sense. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, thank you. All right, because I mean, you all are very smart, so I don't want to be silly, but I mean, I love this idea of, and the thing is, the bots, this is where I sometimes get confused. I'm like, well, how does the bot do it? How does it know? Doesn't matter. I don't have to do that. I don't have to figure that out. That's the best part.
So I'll share a little bit about that in a second, because the way I've set up our agents, I just love them to bits. To be honest, they're like my team now. So let me just share with you one more example, okay? So this is...
Sorry, Karen, I interrupted. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So this is Steve. Okay, so Steve was just trying to get... So, you can't outsource everything. There are certain services. Steve was flipping and refurbing social housing and new builds and that type of thing. and he just could not get the team that he needed without literally, burning out himself. And he's very handy, so he's very committed, and he wanted to do the right thing by clients. So he would 9 times out of 10 try to fit in where he had a skills gap. Okay, so we built, Steve, more of a financial projection dashboard. But what we did initially was we had a HR person come in and really understand the skills that he needed, really understand, that an electrician who's dealing with clients in social housing needed to have a bit more maybe patience and a bit more consideration than maybe an electrician who is working on a big office block in a city centre. So HR not only came up with job descriptions, but we came up with like a psychometric test that actually a couple of questions that an agent could ask would really figure out which way Steve should apply his skills and his team skills and where they needed to focus. So then we started to look at his pipeline. Okay, so he's now got a number of contracts and look at his capacity and demand. Okay, so what contracts are coming up for the skills that he needed? Where does he need his electricians? Where does he need his carpenters and his plumbers? And is the demand outstripping the capacity in any one particular month? All of this information meant that he wasn't, firefighting, and he wasn't on the back foot. He had all of this information in front of him and he could make small tweaks to his business. But all of that started because he got a pool of the right people, very similar to the way that we've built the fractional roster. Okay, so we do vet all of the people that apply to work with us. I want to know that they've all got the same ethics that we've got, that they've all got the same work ethics and conscience to be able to do the right thing by the people that we put them in front of and by the clients that we put them in front of. And also, I work with some of the biggest brands in the world. It's my reputation. I don't want somebody going into Facebook and I'm making mistakes, okay? Because although I will lose Facebook as a client then. So I just want to make sure that actually all of these things, so I've got my own dashboards and that's how I run my business and that's how we've set everybody else up to do the same. Okay. So any questions?
They're
No?
tracking.
Okay.
Here's the thing. We're all on the same page. We need this yesterday. Like, can I hire him today? Can we go back 6 months and have him do it again? Like, can we do this like yesterday?
So honestly, these are not unicorn businesses. Okay. We are doing this every single day for businesses, big and small. I've literally just gone in with a pitch to one of the biggest banks in the UK, where they thought they needed a full-time XYZ. And I've said, no, you don't. No, you need 3 people with different skills but your budget can be spent in a far better way.
Hey,
So
Karen, can I share a story quick?
Yeah,
I
go on.
promise I'll be fast. So, most of us have followed that Google, Facebook, all these ginormous companies have posted record profits, and yet they're laying off thousands.
Yeah.
So because they replace those people with bots.
Yeah.
And again, wherever you feel about that, the reality is if you could get more consistency, like I had a guy who shared about McDonald's, I had one person and all robots running everything. Like the reality is if I could replace all my teenagers, I would. Like in a minute, like not even a minute.
I honestly believe that businesses can run with 3 humans and as many. I've got 190 bots now in my team. Okay. I've got 190 agents and they all do very well a small piece of the process. Okay. I've got super agents. I've built super agents where we stitch the process together and they hand off and they can actually stop and wait for me to check, pause when I say yes, they then move on. There is there's that human aspect of our agents going to take over the world. And I think AI, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. It's exactly the same. The industrial revolution, the digital revolution, it's here to stay. I think we've all got a responsibility to figure out how to work with it, because it won't be the people who lose their jobs will be the people who can't use AI. It's because somebody else can use it better than them. And that's always been the case, to be perfectly honest with you. And certainly the people, and as I say, the case studies I've just shared with you there, they absolutely are growing their business exponentially because they've got the time to look at the numbers. They've got the time to interrogate the data now. So they're generating wealth. They're generating more business because they're not stuck in the weeds of just trying to collate the information and not know how, what's happening in their business. So there's an argument for and against. I am definitely in the for camp because there's so much opportunity with this. Okay. So this is one of the teams that I've set up. Okay. So I am the founder. I'm the person who goes in for this particular organization. I've said to them, okay, absolutely, you don't have a personal board member. Okay. So I invested in a personal board over the years. I've now trained Mia, who is a personal board agent who can then be available for you 24/7. If you're awake at 3 a.m. in the morning and you need mentoring, and Mia has been trained on all of the content that I've got from my mentor. Okay. She's been trained on all of that. She's been trained on everything that I know. You can just interact with Mia whenever you want to, and she will give you that gentle nudge. She can give you the tough love if you need it. Okay.
So everybody, do you understand these are just bots? These are AI. These are not real people.
So
she's personalized them so you feel like you're talking to a person, but these are bots with a real face and name, so that in a community you're talking to a person, right? I just want to make sure they understood that part. These are all agents, but AI agents.
Yeah.
That
so
are
let me
working for free.
Yeah. And that was a strategy on my behalf. That was a call I made. Do I want them to look like robots? Do I want them to look like alien? No, they are my team members. I mean, in fact, a funny story. So I've got an agent called Billy, and Billy sets up everybody for a particular program that I run. So she is day zero. Billy gets you motivated. Billy, so I don't have to do it basically. Billy is in WhatsApp and she's sending messages and she's just building up the excitement. Okay. Now, over the weekend, I needed to retrain Billy. And the avatar that I used wasn't available for me to retrain against. So I was quite conflicted because I got used to seeing Billy's face the way it used to be. And I had to use another avatar. And I was like, oh, I've just sacked. I've just made Billy redundant. I've now got a new Billy. I've got Billy version 2. And I was like, this is crazy, Karen. You need therapy. This is just a bot. But they are part of my team now. All of these 190 of them. And this is the way.
Karen, avatar. So in our world, they use avatar for who they are, not the customer. So just FYI. In the real, like in outside of Pace's world, avatar is who your customer is. That's who you're talking to. So just in case everyone didn't understand that. In Pace's world, it's who you are.
Yeah. So in the context that I've just shared with you, it's a tool. So you can go in and you can pick a face to be the face, and they call them avatars in there. So you can pick a face that looks like an alien or pick a face that looks like a robot. I just happen to pick human faces because I want them to be part of my team. So this is, and very briefly, and I mock this up, so forgive me, my editorial skills aren't great, but this is Drew. Okay, so this is how I share with, and she's an agent. Okay, but this is how I share with my clients what my agents can do.
The right words open doors. Hi, I'm Drew, your elite outreach assistant, trained in the psychology of persuasive selling to help you connect, engage, and win clients on your terms. Whether you're making first contact, following up, or closing the deal, I tailor every message to fit your style and the stage of the relationship. Warm and friendly, direct and professional, I adapt so your outreach feels personal, natural, and effective. No more cold messages that go nowhere. Just smart, strategic outreach that gets results. Do you want to start the right conversations? Let's work together to make it happen.
And we have in Pace's world, we had last year, he had a new business called Prop AI, where it was an auto dialer, AI dialer, and you could give it whatever voice you wanted, and it would cold call people about their properties that were for sale. So they are familiar with that piece. So go ahead, Karen.
No,
no. I love it.
I've just put a face to it. I like to have my team where they've all got personality, and because they learn more as you interact with them, they actually do become an extension of me, of my team, and certainly as I sell these agents to people in my community, they feel as if they're coming and direct to me, but they're not. It's not me that's getting the WhatsApp messages or the Slack messages, or, my agents can actually protect me and my time, which is more valuable to me than anything. So I just wanted to share that because it's just so exciting. It's just like, this is where we all need to be.
You go, girl. I love it. I mean, I think about, remember Jim, Karen? So years
Yeah.
ago, when Karen and I first started, we had a guy, Jim, who was selling his business, and he was an electrician. And every night he would sit at his table at 9 o'clock after dinner at his kitchen table, and he would figure out where his guys were going the next day. And then he would take a screenshot of the thing and text it to each guy. And I was like, Jim, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy time. Like, so we got him to delegate that. This is pre-AI stuff, right? Where it was so accessible. And he gained 5 hours a week just by handing that off. And we were like, how does that feel? I mean, I don't know if his wife appreciated or didn't appreciate it, but the reality was, like, all of a sudden he had an extra 20 hours a month because he just got rid of this one task. And that's kind of where this idea of like fix one thing, like whatever your biggest pain point, whatever. But the nice part about having a COO come in, right? I didn't understand this, but the COO's job is to figure out what's going on right now and fix all the broken things. That's their job. And then after they do that, then they kind of can project what's going to fix the things going forward. But they come in and they just kind of like your little rescue team and then start doing that. Right. And so I just love this idea because most of us have broken pieces, things we don't need, things that we are stuck in. Like, I'll be honest, like, I'm not posting as much content because I know the minute I record it, I have to now go schedule it, figure out what it says, cross post it, all that nonsense. And I don't want to train somebody to do it. But I'm building right now on Wednesday, I'm building a content manager that's just going to do it. It's just going to do it. It's going to connect it and just push it out. Right. And this is Pace's push for us is to have clones. So, anywho, all right, I'm going to stop talking. Go ahead, Karen.
No. I'm just reading through some of the questions here. Yeah. So as Tracy says at the very beginning, we are not pitching anything. Yes, I do this in my business in the UK and in the US. I'm now in New Zealand. We've just signed our first franchise out there. So I'm over the moon with that one. We can certainly, get to know your business a bit better. We can put you in touch with the right fractional person that you need. They will then, because certainly the ones that are trained by me will then be able to say to you, you need X, Y, Z. Okay. And absolutely, we can either get them to build it or we can get somebody else to build it. This is, you can move really, really quickly on this now. Okay. But yeah, it's what you need to do. Okay. Don't hire anybody for them to be trained and leave in 6 months' time.
Yes, that's the worst part. The minute you train them and you finally get over the cost, it's kind of like pad split. You finally get them in your place. Pad split's like the co-living thing over here, Karen. And so they put them in a room, let's just say. And for the first 10 days, you don't get paid at all because they place them. So they take that money.
Right.
And then you start then they take 8% after that. And it's like the minute that they place them and they get like, it's like then they jump. So it's like, crap, now I got to start again, right? It's that idea that the minute you finally feel comfortable, you get something, then you can, then all of a sudden you got to keep starting over. Every time I get somebody trained in my candy store, then they're going to school or they're going to college or they're going on vacation and it's just all that stuff. So anywho, but I just love this idea. The whole point of all this was just to open your mind to like, you could have a dashboard that tells you everything you need to know that's fed by a legion of bots that you could hire somebody to come in and orchestrate and build. Like, doesn't have to be, that's where we get stuck, right? We're so used to doing it, right? We're the ones, but doesn't have to be. So like, Amy, I'm hoping that the content manager is going to do every damn thing because I hate it. I hate cross posting, all that stuff. I'm using high level and it is crossed it, but like I go in and I got to schedule it and the this and the that. And the goal is to just so I'm actually building it. I'm like, I joined a thing to just, we're all going to collectively as a group build it. Because I didn't hire a COO yet because I have Karen. I don't need to yet. I put her to work. And she likes to, the idea is like, I keep opening loops and she keeps going behind and closing them all. So that's kind of what Karen does for me. But anyway, yes, it is recorded. I know. That's why Heather, so we're going to share it. I'm going to put it in. I just wanted really, like, this is what Karen and I have been working on this for at least 4 years. this idea of exitable and getting you out of your business, and not necessarily to sell right now, but like to build something that can run without you, that does, it's not a prison. It's not like where you want to kill everybody and you hate everybody because they're making your lives miserable. Like this idea. And AI has just really just made this so much easier. And then the piece that Karen built out, which was the whole fractional piece, people who want, like, what if you could hire a COO for like a couple hours a month to oversee what's going on in your business for like, just say a couple $100, but they just start the ball rolling, but they're professionally making a couple 100,000 a year, right?
So
Full time, right?
yeah.
That's the idea. Go ahead,
So
Karen.
yeah, the CMO that I work with, lovely guy in New York. I mean, I initially thought, oh my God, he's working for one of the biggest organizations on the planet. He's not going to want to do it. But he was perfect for a client that I had in the UK, a not for profit client. And I thought, oh, they just need this bit of external commercial input. So I spoke to him and I said, would you just mind? And he went, yeah, sure. I said, I'll pay you. And I thought, the way the British are with that, I felt really embarrassed. Like, no, I'll actually pay you for. And he went, you know what? That's great. He said, because I've got 2 boys, I've got to put them through college. Yes, I earn a good salary, but living in New York is very expensive. So if you can get me any of that. So last year, I think I paid him something like $50,000-$60,000 just by small pieces of information, small pockets of his time. And he absolutely loves it, and as I say, it's kept us connected, and I think we've done some really great stuff for some businesses that just would not on this planet get access to somebody like him.
Right.
There's no way they would even know that they're not in his orbit, never mind
Right.
be able to approach him. That's
Right.
the power of the network that I've got and that we've cultivated. So
Right.
absolutely.
And that's the part too. It's like these COOs, like let's say they're working for Johnson and Johnson or Meta, whoever, right? They're being paid by these people and they're trained and they know all this stuff. So you don't even have to train them. They just know. They already know. And in a lot of ways, they're sick of corporate too, that they love coming in and working with somebody who's more grassroots and small and localized. It's more real versus this big conglomerate with all these pieces that, and all the nonsense that goes in with corporate.
Yeah.
So
They make an impact, and that's, they go right back to that's what they trained to do. So listen, I am conscious of time. Has anybody got any questions? Because it's 10 to 7 in the UK
you can
now.
unmute, I think, if Karen gave you the power.
I think so. Yeah.
She let me unmute, so you guys should be able to.
Yeah, you can all unmute. Yeah.
Looks
like.
Okay. So Karen, were you planning on just sharing the link to the fractional community so they could it's kind of like LinkedIn or Uplink or Upwork, where you can go and look, but also we don't want it to be overwhelming, right?
So
go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I wasn't planning it. We just put this together and as we said at the beginning, there was no pitch, there was no sales. I think the easiest way, if it's okay with you guys, if I just could ask you to fill a couple of questions out. So just basically, what's the problem? What's your one thing? And this could be as a precursor to maybe coming onto the podcast.
Yeah, you could come on the podcast and then we could kind of help you and then whatever, but and connect you with the right person.
Yeah, because that will help me really understand, do we have somebody immediately available who could work with you? Or is it just something that we need just to have a quick chat and then I go, right, okay, we do need to get you some help. Okay, we know exactly who to put you in touch with, that type of thing.
Yeah. The lovely part is business. So some of this stuff is going to be generic, right? Won't be so specific, maybe not so specific to real estate or water restoration or not water restoration. You know what I'm saying, Monique, but like the idea, right? But business is business. If they understand spreadsheets and KPIs and all that stuff for a conglomerate, they're going to understand it for your business. So, okay, go ahead. Monique, did you have a question? Sorry.
I do. So I absolutely love what you guys have put together. And Tracy, you're amazing as always. But I guess my question, I know you guys have just formulated this, so maybe you don't even know the answer. Like, how do we all plug into this? Is like, are you like Karen orchestrating this whole thing to, okay, here, like you just said, we'll fill out some questions. Do you like, okay, I'm going to find out what you need and then I'm going to help you pick the right person, and then they're going to help you I mean, how does all of this kind of play out in a sequential manner for a business? So I have a water restoration business, Karen, and you don't know that, but Tracy does. And I'm right now looking at we had some glitches in our company. I'm redoing some processes and stuff. And who do I hire? Well, this is an absolute game changer for me to be able to hire somebody who can now formulate the pieces for me and then the bots behind that, because we're always calling clients, and it's things are falling, by the wayside, and I'm getting very frustrated. It's like, okay, I got to retrain my people. And, whereas I have a bot who's doing that and consistent, like for instance, we just had a plumber that we worked with and we referred them to work. They were amazing with their communication. I want my company that amazing.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's 18 people on this call. Okay. We could plow through all of your problems, your one thing, in a couple of weeks. Okay. There's not a huge volume here, but the infrastructure that we've set up. So we do have something called a fractional roster. So every one of our consultants has a profile on the fractional roster. Okay. So think of it as so somebody said to me, it's like Upwork or Fiverr. I prefer to think it's a bit like Raya, that celebrity dating app where we know exactly who's on there and we can intelligently match it with, and we just don't let just anybody on there. So ideally, say you were 6 months down the line and you went, okay, we've solved all of my immediate problems. Now I just want to finesse, or now I want to scale, or now I'm going to go into a different marketing channel. The model would be, you would go onto the fractional roster, you would search for the skills that you need. More the way I'm presenting it to the consultants that they have to set their profile up is, don't share the skills, share the problems that you solve. So if you said we are not getting consistent leads through the door because our sales reps are no. So you will be able to say consistent leads, search on that, and the people who have done that before, been in the trenches, will be presented to you. That's the intelligent matching. So we've got AI working in the background that says, based on all of these inputs, these are the right people for you. Okay. Some of them are accredited. Okay. So they have absolutely been through my accountancy boot camp to say, do you understand the value that you are getting? Can you articulate the value, the ROI on the spend? If somebody's spending $5,000 with you, how do you, make sure that you get 10x that ROI back? So all of that is there, but I think it's probably a bit too overwhelming for the 17, 18 people that are on this call at the moment. Okay. It would be easier if Tracy and I just sort of funneled you through and said, okay, fill out a couple of questions. Okay. We'll have a little look. Anything that we don't understand, come on the podcast with us. Okay. We'll dig into a little bit deeper. Then coming out the other end of it, I'll be able to match you with a person that will help you.
Hey, Karen, do you have a form or something? Sorry, somebody's in the candy store. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no. So no, I don't, because this was just about, share.
I know, we were just going to share to blow your minds. Like, how cool is it?
You did.
Good. I'm glad.
So yeah, we were just literally trying to share because we're so excited about this. But what I'll do is I will set up a single landing page. Okay. I'll send you all the link. And it'll just be 2 or 3 questions. As much information as you can give us about your business and about the problems that you face, that will help us accelerate this through. But yeah, if you want help, that's what we do. It's just that we weren't pitching for it tonight because we just
no. I mean, again, the whole point too, right? I don't like it when we kind of like cannibalize the like owners club. Like, oh, I'm going to take all this bit. Like, that wasn't the point. I just thought, look at her pitch away. Thank you, Amy. I love you. Anyway, so but the whole idea is like, we want everybody to start to see the possibility and get themselves exitable. Like, again, my goal is 1 million people. So like, we're not going to work with all of them, but they can understand what's possible. So, okay, Travis, go for it.
Perfect. Thank you. First of all, your non-pitch pitch was amazing. So thank you. We appreciated it. My question for you, I'm just more curious. I love everything you're saying, and I think it's very timely for myself. But my question is, there's obviously nuances, but in your experience, I guess, Karen, what are your top 3 like AI bots that people generally are using the most? I'm just kind of curious, like knowing just all that what are your like go-to 3 that you're like, these are the ones that people are probably going to be the most benefited by?
So think about the stuff that keeps you awake at night, or when you wake up in the morning, you think, oh God, do I have to do that? Okay. So it's typically content. Okay. I don't want to post on LinkedIn. Oh my God, what do I think about? Okay. How do I actually get onto Facebook? How do I make it platform appropriate, audience appropriate? Okay. Speaking the language of my ideal client, all that kind of stuff. Content is the biggest drain emotionally for people as well. Okay. So over the weekend, I have set up, you guys all know about like the Seinfeld approach to content, isn't it? Where you give them micro stories to hook people in and that type of stuff. Yeah. So over the weekend, I did a bot for me, for my LinkedIn. I post regularly on LinkedIn, and it's typically 7 a.m. in the morning over my first coffee. And I'm thinking, what's happened yesterday? What's irritated me? So there's no real strategy to it. Okay. It's just, I just download because that takes the pressure and the stress away. But over the weekend, I wrote myself a bot, and I've got various elements to it now. So I know what I'm talking about on a Monday. Okay. So Monday is a Seinfeld. Tuesday's more a Ted Lasso. Wednesday's more Friends. It's like, but all of that now is set up. I've got 365 days worth of content being generated by this thing, and it just gets posted into a scheduler and it just goes. Okay. So I just did that for me because it was like, and that's number one. Okay. I think what you'll find is the stuff that is the mechanics of the business, like invoicing, like, outbound dialing, that type of stuff, that's further down the list of what's painful. Think about, I always ask, what keeps you awake at night? And I ask this of the COOs of the big corporates as well. If there's ever any town halls and people go, have you got any questions? The big killer question is, what keeps you awake at night? I ask that of all of my clients and stuff. And as soon as somebody says that, you've got them, exactly what you can help them with.
Karen,
No,
you see that you see
Sorry.
Amy's post?
Amy, I know.
How much does a bot cost to build? So like, I know how to build bots. It's really, do you want to do it? Right? It's some people, it's like going down the rabbit hole, right? Like you could just find yourself in the weeds building 500 bots. It's like, what do you want to do? And where is your zone of genius? And do you want to learn? That's my opinion, but go ahead, Karen.
It really just depends on how sophisticated it needs to be and how much it needs to be trained. Okay. So my agents are all trained. I've got 20 odd years worth of content. Okay. So I do a lot of, so like finding, my business started out as finding contracts for consultants. Okay. So, what are the buying signals that clients are putting out there? Which senior manager has moved jobs recently and therefore will be looking to make an impact with their current employer? They're likely to go to market. Okay. They've now hired a transformation director. They're likely then to want more project manager. So all of those buying signals, all of those things come in. But I've trained that based on 20 odd years worth of knowledge. Okay. The time will be, as we go into, if somebody goes and works in your business and understands what content you have, okay, if you've got really mature SOPs we can load those in. That will train the bot really, really quickly. It's not so much the bot, it's the preparation. It's all of the data that feeds it so that you get the right output.
Yeah. Well, and again, if you have SOPs, so for example, in my candy store, again, it's simple. It's a very basic business, right? But I'm dependent on people. I'm heavily dependent on people. And I'm not in New Hampshire. I'm in Charlotte. Are they doing what? And so building my SOPs about how do you make an ice cream cone? How do you do this? How do you do, like all of that, they can put in, how do I? And it will tell them, right? Because I fed it everything they need to know because there's a lot to know. I mean, it's silly, but it's true. And so, but it's just a bot for the candy store, like for newbies so they don't feel so lost, right? Those kind of, but you can use it for anything you want to. Like I just created an inventory app for all of my new locations to be able to speaking to the warehouse. And I built that in Manus. And so Manus is another one that Pace is talking about, right? But like it built it for me. Right. So like, it's just crazy what AI can do. It just depends. Where do you want to spend your time? And where, like Pace talks about, where do you make your money? Right. Are you making your money building the bot? Or would you rather just pay $100 or whatever it is, right? To like get somebody to do it for you and assign it. Right. And then you have it forever.
Yeah. And I would also just caution, I mean, it's like no code. Okay. It's great as an entry point, as a minimal viable product. But if you want it to scale, if you want it to be robust, if you want it to daisy chain with others. If you wanted to send information, if you wanted to send emails out to clients, if you want it to interact, it has to be robust. But it all starts with the data.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the other thing, and so she just mentioned a keyword that I don't know if you all aware of, but like you can daisy chain. So like you can have this bot, and once it's done, it will hand it off to this bot, who's going to hand it off to this bot, and right, that's the daisy chaining piece, because the bots are good for like a specific, like you don't want to give them 50 things, right? Although Karen built some super bots, but
I've got super bots. Yeah, I've got well, not bots. So mine have all got a personality. They're all, they've all got a face. They all got. I've given them a backstory, and mine have all got a bio that actually will help you understand their true nature. We've got videos for all of them so that people can see which ones that they want. So we've invested a lot into our agents. They're not bots to me,
right.
But actually,
they're people.
Well, yeah, as I say, I think some of my team said I need therapy at the moment because I'm maybe getting a bit too attached to them. But they are deep experts. Okay? Not only trained by me, some of them have got content from McKinsey's, from Bain, from all of these big strategy houses that really do know their stuff, but will never filter down to smaller businesses like ours unless we use agents to help us.
Correct.
Okay.
I built a board of directors for me, and I asked I named chat Kevin. So anyway, I asked Kevin to like, who should I put in my board of directors? And then I did a deep dive on all these people, but Pace was one of them. So I texted Pace like, hey, AI recommended you, like, and you're now on I said, you're the only one out of my board of directors that I've actually met and actually have their cell phone number that I can text. So there you go. We'll see if the real Pace versus the bot Pace match. But anyway, so anybody have any other questions? I mean, I know I want to respect everybody's time. But I'm glad, like, I think this is so exciting for us as owners. Like, the idea of not having to do the nonsense we hate is a dream, right? And so, but if you want, so thank you, number one, for coming. This is Karen, who I love. And so, I will post the replay, but then under the replay, I'll also put the link to the forum as soon as Karen finishes what she wants to know. And we'll go from there, everybody. And then just tell a friend they should, when I post it, if you would just, because they do need to hear it. Just not everybody knows they need to hear it, if that makes sense. Like, because they just have to start to think about it. Like, how, if I didn't have to do the things I have to do and I could do it differently, what could that look like? Does that make sense? So,
okay. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. It's been great talking to you all.
Bye, friends. Bye, Karen.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, guys.